when you first got to Hollywood, you had a lot of reverse Me Too going on.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I came to Hollywood. I was I don't think you can call me a player, but I had about like a roster of 14 women at one time that I was dating, and I was pretty honest about it. I got here. I'm a guy. I've been on my own since I was 14. I bring the streets with me. I bring intelligence. I have something that I guess there wasn't a whole lot of. I guess a lot of guys were not like. I don't know. I grew up. The thing with the pride of the men that I looked up to, and my ilk, was like how well you can treat a woman. That's even in the bedroom. It's like you don't brag about that you got a woman. You brag about, how well you could please a woman. Whatever. That's where the ego came from. And but then I also enjoyed having women friends. So I was, friends with benefits dude. And I didn't care. It was like, hey, I didn't mind having women friends. If y'all, if you didn't want, I'm telling you straight up, like, look, it don't have to be like this. We could just be friends. And then women talk. For one thing, if you know what you're doing, they tell their friends. That's just the truth. That just was like, and I kept quiet, but it was like, okay, what's up?
Like, what was that scene in Boomerang? With Strawn J and Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
When do I get to fuck you?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, hey, if you know what you're doing, you don't have to lie, and you don't have to, you don't have to do none of that stuff. You'd be surprised what people would be down for if you just straight up and honest. I mean, one thing is a lot of guys didn't understand. It's like, the woman's biggest sexual organ is their brain. You take their brain somewhere. You got them, and plus, I had tricks, and I'm not just talking about physical, I had psychological things. I had game. I had game because, and a lot of folks down here did not have game. They didn't, and I was dating grown ass women when I was 15.
Right. So you had a child when you were how old?
16. I just turned 16.
Just turned 16 with a 20-something-year-old woman. We talked about this last time.
So a lot of women, I was pulling grown women when I was real young, and I had a lot of game.
Well, you dated a couple very high-profile women.
Yeah, and I was always, closed-mouthed about a lot of that. Yeah,
me and you have had private conversations about a couple of these.
I'm still closed-mouthed about it.
So we're not going to talk about that.
No.
Okay, fair enough.
Other people do their Google thing. If they want to find out, they find out.
Right. But like I said, these were private conversations. I'm not going to put it on blast right now if you don't want to talk about it.
But it's funny because if anybody want to check, they can tell.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And we're talking about some Oscar winners along the way here.
Yeah, and top models and people like that. And that's when I was driving around a beat up old Mustang. But it wasn't I knew how to treat women, put it that way. And even when I was out there, and one of the women was who's my current wife. And out of all the exploits I had with some of the finest women and whatever that I knew, nothing compares to what I have now. Nothing, not one moment compares to what I have now with my wife.
Oh, your wife is hella cool. I met her a bunch of times now when I've been over to your house. And what I found interesting is that we'd all be at your spot and we'd be talking and you'd be telling me these stories and you're naming these actual women's as you're telling me these stories, and she's like right there, and she's not tripping.
My wife has nothing to worry about. She has nothing. I've dated real famous women, and when my friends were like, "Man, I can't believe how lucky you are," and I'm like, how lucky am I? You don't.
Yeah.
This woman might be famous, but she's pretty damn crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I'm sorry. The truth of the matter is, I can line up all the finest, most popular, whatever that I dated, and they don't compare to the regular women that I've dated. Like I loved women who had something going on. Maybe this one's an international banker. She's gonna fly in. Whenever we get together, it's no such thing as bullshit time. We were talking real stuff. I didn't date anybody that I felt like I couldn't see myself with in the long term. Even though we was enjoying whatever the situation was at the time, and my friends, they just were like, "How do you?" You know, I'm like, but you know, I honestly did not have. I thought this was the way to live. This was what it is, and even if I got married, you know, you get married, you keep your side pieces over here, or you can have an understanding with your wife. I never thought I'd be with one woman. I'm like, who does that? And I'm gonna be honest, I'm just not gonna be with one woman. That's really what I thought. Hell no, there's not a woman that can do anything for me other than my wife. And like I say, there's not one part of that lifestyle that I reflect back on and miss. Not one. I never thought things would be the way they are. And, you know, I'm kind of, you know, I know it sounds like, yeah, you the man, and you know, all that kind of stuff back then. No, I wasn't. I really wasn't. I was a hoe.
Well, I don't think that that the average person, the average man, realizes the effect that fame and money has on women. In the same way that a beautiful woman walks in the room and every man stares at her, a famous and or rich man will walk into a room and every woman will stare at him. It's an opposite effect in a way, an equivalent effect.
Well, here's the weird thing. It's like, I've never been with a groupie in my life. I never got with not one groupie in my entire life. Because
there's never been a woman you got with that was a fan of your work.
No.
Really?
Honestly, because I've been so used to real women all that time. The women that I'm talking about were way more famous than me, right? So after when I got married and started looking for this more traditional situation, then put it this way. A woman that came at me or was interested in me because they see me on TV, they're going to pale in comparison on conversations, on everything about them, on me even honoring them, right? How am I going to look at that person, some chicken head or whatever, in comparison to what I'm used to? The women who have their own thing or whatever, and we meet up and we vibe on this level. You know what I mean? So none of the groupie type of people had anything to offer me. That you can't nurture me. You know what I mean? So that's so I never got with any. If my power or fame meant anything, they cancel themselves.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.